Yes.
Did anyone ever clearly state why he moved to Crawford?
I don't think so. You heard a lot of speculative answers. I believe that Harriet Miers, you remember our first nominee to the Supreme Court of the Bush era, I think she was from there, and like that might have been from near there, and so she might have gotten a tip. But it makes sense. It's halfway between Austin and Dallas, and Laura Bush has a lot of connections in Dallas and SMU, which is where the library will be, and you know, it's kind of near Air Force Base, and you know, but it's not. I think the kid who said, you know, put his finger on a map and all like that. I mean, it sort of could be any town, which is part of what attracted me to the story. I mean, it's been interesting to see people that are from small towns, particularly in Texas, but around the country, who can sort of posit their way into this experience. I mean, it sort of could have been any town, and so it's a microcosm.
Why anyone would spend August in Crawford is a good one.
Right. And nobody cuts brush in August in Crawford. I mean, they don't. Yeah, it's hot. I mean, it is hot. It's like 110 degrees some days.
I don't know if you've researched it all, but like, do you have to be in a town a certain amount of time to maintain that you're a resident there?
I don't know. That was December of '99. He got his place, and then the first time, his first public appearance was the speech at the graduation, you know, which was May of 2000. So I guess he'd been there about 6 months. I mean, he votes there, so I don't know. He voted there this past election.
How did the people of Crawford feel about this last election?
I don't know. I think that, you know, like I said, I think they're ready to move on from Bush. I don't know that, I think it's still a very, very conservative town. The pastor said 99.9% of people vote for Bush. I bet 95 voted for McCain.
But you had ended your interviewing prior to the election.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I've been in touch with them, so I haven't really asked. But you know, I think it's still a predominantly conservative town that probably didn't vote for Obama. I don't know what they're, you know, whether they're open to, you know, new directions and new ideas. So we'll see. All of major cities in Texas voted for Obama, which is pretty amazing. Dallas, Austin, Houston, San Antonio. Not Corpus Christi, where my friend Love is from, but all the other ones. But the town, I mean, the towns still, you know, still don't. So. Yes.
How long did you spend in post-production?
Well, we stopped shooting in September of '07, and we were done in early March of '08. But we were sort of editing, I'd guess, from that May. So, like, I'd say maybe 9 months or so. We were shooting and editing at the same time. So yeah, about 9 months. Most of the music's original, and that took a lot of time. We had about 110 hours of footage, and finding all the archival footage, and you know,
Yeah,
it takes a long time.
I was wondering.
Yeah. I'd say about 9 months. Yes.
Of all the people that you interviewed down there, when was the moment that you knew you had your film? The one person.
I initially really set out to make a short film. I did it, my impulse was because I felt duped. Literally, I didn't know that Bush wasn't from Crawford, which I'm okay with saying that now. And it amazes me how many people don't know that. I mean, and so when I found out that he'd moved there in '99, I thought, well, what's, you know, it like in this tiny town? And I was interested in sort of exposing him for this political stagecraft and seeing what was behind the scenes. And that is still in the film, I think, but ultimately we found something a lot more compelling, I think, which is the people of Crawford and their story, and Bush winds up like Godot, and the film is a lot more about them, which I think that wound up better. So I would say in some ways, when Cindy Sheehan arrived and things went haywire, and I was in Boston and got a call, there's a woman in Crawford, aren't you working on a project? And we had to jump on a plane and go back there and go out there, and that clearly ratcheted things up. But the film, I think, went probably sitting down with Pug Myers.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Ricky Smith, Pug Myers.
Both of them. Man, you should see the DVD extras of the stories that they tell that have nothing to do with the movie, but like far more entertaining. A lot of times we get bogged down in the editing room. We'd be like, well, we could just show Pug's whole interview.
Pug must have been just a dream. You must have been in heaven when you found him.
Yeah, he's amazing. Smart man.
Good makeup job.
Yeah, right. Bill Holmes, the pickup truck guy, says about, when we went back and showed it in Crawford, he said about Pug, he said, that was the dumbest smart man I ever knew. He has the stories about his heart attacks. He had 5 heart attacks before the one that killed him. I mean, he lists his birds that he raised. He has he lists like 150 birds just in a row without moving. It's really, it's good stuff. Yeah, they're good storytellers, right? I mean, both him and Ricky Smith, they're not aware of the camera really, and that makes a big difference. They're not thinking about what they look like. They chill out and just, come across. Yeah. Yes.
What are you working on now?
What we're on now, I interviewed Yao Ming 2 weeks ago. That was exciting, but that was a short piece for the Rockets, Houston Rockets. There's a couple of things. One thing I'm really interested in is developing a film about the son of Huey Long's assassin. Huey Long was the governor of Louisiana in the mid-30s, went on to be a senator. He actually held the governor's seat and the Senate seat at the same time for 2 months because nobody could do anything about it. He was this sort of populist fascist, and he was shot and killed by a 29-year-old surgeon in the Capitol that he had built, and the surgeon had a 3-month-old baby and a young wife and no real motive. And the conspiracies abound, but that baby is now 75 and is a surgeon like his father and lives in Long Island and has never really gone back to Baton Rouge and found closure over his father's death. So that's what this film looks like it would be about. So we'll see.
I'm curious, do you think there's what ongoing relevance might your film have now that, we'll move on to another presidency? But what potential telling observations might people make from it 3 days from now and beyond?
Good question. I hope the film will stand up because it's not about Bush and it's about these people's story. I think the immediate relevance will wane, but I think that political stagecraft and political narratives are, the man from Hope. Like Bill Clinton's not really from Hope. I mean, every politicians need to politicians need to create these images and these narratives, and I think seeing one from the inside out may be in the future. I certainly was during the entire Sarah Palin candidacy, I was certainly thinking about all of this and the ways in which small town America is sort of used as a prop when it's not clear that the small town value is not clear that the towns are actually being valued. So I think that's folksy small town image thing will come up again, and maybe this will be of interest. And I think it's a people's history of the Bush era, so hopefully it will exist that way in 10 years.
Do you think that Crawford will survive this whole economic downturn?
That's a good question. I mean, it was pretty boarded up before he came. And there's sort of like a lot of folks there work in Waco, and there's their jobs aren't necessarily in town. So it's like the city, the downtown, what they call, there's one stoplight, but is kind of dead. But I don't think people will be moving away particularly. Although they did, this used to be in the film, the teacher, Misty Turbeville, her house is still on the market. She just couldn't sell her. I mean, because the prices skyrocketed when he came in, and now nobody wants to buy land there. So that is an issue. But I don't think anyone's really moving away.
Do you think Bush will be able to sell his ranch, or do you think they'll have to eat
I think
it?
he likes it. I mean, that's the thing that's I mean, I think it's, totally created an image and all that, but I think he really likes being there. I think it is a role, but I think he likes playing the role. So I think he'll keep it. No one will bother him.